Zach. We're excited today. We have Alexandra Ingram as our speaker. She's the founder and executive director of Make the Distinction, a mentoring organization that empowers girls ages 11 to 17 to develop confidence, leadership skills, and healthy relationships. With over 10 years of experience as a facilitator, consultant, trainer, and mentor, Alexandra works closely with schools and social service agencies across Philadelphia, leading impactful, culturally responsive programs. She holds a Master of Social Work from Westchester University and has served with organizations such as City Year Miami, Enon Tabernacles Missions Team in Nicaragua, and the KB Foundation's Girls Glamp Camp. Passionate about service, youth empowerment, personal growth, Alexandra is dedicated to making people feel seen, valued, and inspired both in her community and beyond. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Alex.
Great. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. And thank you for having me as a presenter this month. Okay. So I like to introduce myself with a few visual pictures. I think that's a easy way and fun way to learn a little bit about myself that transitions into my why and starting to make the distinction. So I won't go through every picture, but I'll give you an overview. This picture right here to the left, I will start with. This was at summer camp, overnight camp. I think I was the age of 9 here with my cousin and some other girls that went to the camp. But this was my first experience, um, first fun outdoor experience that this is when I realized I like interactive, working with people in an interactive way. Even though I was a child, this is also where I had my first job as a lifeguard at this summer camp. And that's when I knew I have a good rapport with youth, with young people. And I realized wherever I work, I need to be in a space where I can be interactive. It's a lot of motion. I'm not just, I can't sit at a desk for long. I just knew I need to be like in a fun environment. And this is where it all started with this picture on the left at camp. And over time, as you see, I went to school, graduated, um, worked at the YMCA with the teens, Y Achievers department, and I learned a little bit more there. And then this picture to the top right, City Year is when I realized my impact to teach. I really had the opportunity to teach students in algebra. It was a school in Miami, and we focused on um, the lower academic, kind of status for the students. That's when I knew I had a skill and I was good at it. And then that's where I began my teaching and facilitation from there on out. I share this presentation with my students to show them you may not know the steps of your life path, right? But the more you're involved in different things, the more that you have an opinion on what you like or what you dislike. So all of these things led up to the start of Make the Distinction. I was involved as a student leader at Kutztown. Westchester, we um, traveled to New Orleans to help rebuild homes after Katrina. So all of these different experiences molded Make the Distinction and myself as a leader. Here are a few more pictures, more current, of some of the interactions that I have with some of my girls in the program, collaborations with other organizations, being a camp director with another organization with 4 girls. That has been a great experience. So all of these areas has benefited me to where I'm at and really to see what my passion is. And I usually tell my students this: what is your passion? What are you good at? What skills do you have? And where do your talents and hobbies lie? Then what can make you money? So all of these things allowed me to make the distinction. So I started Make the Distinction because I once was I lacked confidence as a teen, middle school, high school, especially in the academic realm in the classroom, and I used to play basketball. I really struggled with confidence and really knowing what my value was, um, and standing firm on that. That's why I started Make the Distinction, also known as MTD. I use that for short. The lack of confidence, and then I had a lot of mentors growing up. I didn't know that they were mentors, but they were adults in my life that spoke life into me. They played a part in my development. And as I got older, I realized, hey, like I wouldn't be here without them. I didn't see myself, I didn't see my value until maybe someone spoke into me. And this is a platform that I created as a founder and executive director to be able to give to the next generation of girls. Right. And in the world that we live in 2025, we have social media. There's a lot of different and new challenges for our, not just girls, but for our youth,
Hmm.
and creating a safe space for them to be able to flourish, to be able to recognize their worth. And no matter what room they walk into, they're confident in that space. So, as you can see, these are some of the girls in our program to the right. But our main kind of tagline is empowering tomorrow's leaders, one girl at a time. So our mission for the organization is preparing girls between the ages of 11 to 17 with lifelong skills in the areas of personal and professional development. So, in essence, that they become leaders in their community. Leadership is huge, especially for young ladies. We see it in sports, we see it in politics, schools, the education system, in different areas, business. But it's important that our girls know their worth so that they have the confidence to actually advocate for themselves and to show leadership in no matter what realm, whether it's professionally or in relationships, at school, academically, in different spaces. All right. And our vision is, excuse me, ensuring that every girl has the opportunity and exposure to become a leader, right? It can be in us, but like I said, if someone doesn't point something out to us, if someone doesn't allow a platform or opportunities for us to actually implement these leadership skills that we've been taught, you may not know what you're capable of, especially at the age of 13, right? As an adult, we might know, and some of us still may struggle. And mentorship doesn't end. You know, I'm sure we have in this space, we have mentors no matter how old we are. So it's important that our young girls receive that exposure as well. So make the distinction. We reviewed our mission, our vision. Some of this is what encompasses this organization. We have in-school programming. So currently we have contracts within three schools, in a Philly and Philadelphia, greater Philadelphia area. We have an annual summer retreat, which will actually be occurring later this month, which I'll talk about towards the end. And this is where maybe some of you can support our girls in this capacity. And then in the in-school program, we focus more on evidence-based curriculum. So we focus on the self introspection, right? How do we assess ourselves? How do we navigate this world with ourselves and other people? Are we aware of ourselves and other people? So, relationships, communication, different things like that. How do our decisions impact others ultimately? Our Ladies of Distinction, I'm sorry, I should say Leaders of Distinction. Leaders of Distinction program. It's a leadership program that happens throughout the year. We have a session in the fall and the spring. And this is where we have some of our guest speakers come in. I know, Zach, you had asked me earlier. This is where we have different women that look like our girls. They come in, and some of them are entrepreneurs. Our girls learned CPR a couple months ago. We talked about affirmations and relationships, drug and alcohol prevention. So there are different speakers come in and have these interactive conversations with our girls, and this is more of a workshop setting. And then we have different events throughout the year that gives us a little bit more socializing and engagement, a level of engagement that involves our retreat. We had an event last weekend called She Knows Cars. So we invited women and girls to learn what's under the hood, right? A lot of our girls will be getting their license and permits soon. And as the women in here, you might feel some of us might feel uncomfortable when we go to an auto shop because it's male dominant. And also, we had this workshop to expose our girls to a woman auto technician, right? That this is an option, a career option. This is a potential career path. So that's just one example of a workshop that we recently had that encompasses the whole individual, right? Confidence, interaction, hands-on exposure to a career field. And then also we want to make sure our girls know how to advocate for themselves. How do they speak up, right? In a room where mom or dad may not be there, mentor may not be there, how do you speak up for yourself? So these are the different areas of programming that occurs throughout the year. And please, if anyone has any questions, please hold to the end and then I can make sure to touch base on them. So here are a few impact stories, testimonials. Um, I won't necessarily read them word for word, but representing high school principal that we worked with, just understanding the importance of community, and just a space for our girls to feel heard and seen. I notice a lot of times in this work, students talk about what they can't talk about at home with parents or
Mhm.
guardians. And a lot of it, I think most adults can say that was like, they can attest to that when they were younger, right? Do as I say, um, be seen, not heard, right? Those things. And so the space that we have for our girls in the school and outside of school capacity, we listen to them, we hear them out. And my main kind of saying is, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to get you to think critically, right? Think critically about the decisions you make. Think critically about the world around you. Think critically about the friendships you have, right? Because mom, like I said, mom or dad or mentor, whoever teacher is not always going to be in every space that you're a part of. So we get to hear from our high school principal, some of the participants. A lot of them feel like their point of view is understood and listened to. There's a level of comfort coming to our groups. There is a camaraderie that is built within our program. And, the girls are receiving information on a different level, right? It's not, don't do this, this is bad, but let's talk about why this happens. Let's talk about why youth your age maybe handles things in this manner. Well, what's healthy and what's unhealthy, and then we have those conversations. So in essence, the girls are learning through talking with each other of, what's healthy. I'm there to guide the conversation, but it's really for them to kind of share that space and learn from each other. Also, a parent has felt as though their child enjoyed the topics and has been more open to spaces where they have to socialize, not be in their phones, and to, improve their communication skills. All right, and here are some more testimonials that you can review. I can also send this in an email. I know we don't have a lot of time, so you can always refer back to this. But we do have some alumni that has shared their insight. Their focus was mental health, guest facilitators spending time with us and just seeing the impact that the work is being done, and just grateful to be a part of that experience. And then also our board members, uh, understanding our mission. Our mission aligns with their mission, and they want to be a part of that and build the vision with MTD. And here are some visuals throughout the year. This was our auto workshop at the top. Middle, we had one of our alumni started her own business, and she is an esthetician now. So she had her grand opening. I was able to support her, and she was actually one of our first participants to sign up back in 2017. So this shows the power of our work, being able to see them flourish after they graduate high school. We have our workshop series in the schools, community outreach. And this picture, actually, that's where I met you, Francesca, at the Juneteenth event at Cheltenham. So that was pretty cool. And our leadership program. And then this is our day retreats, a Breathe, Bloom, Be day retreat that will be occurring June 28th. And this is where we invited 5 girls to spend time outside, right? No phones. We got them out the city and they did some outdoor activities. We went hiking, paddle boats. We did like a ropes course, and just to see them in the beginning, they were very like shy and quiet. And then by the end of the day, they were all making a group chat to stay in contact with one another. But aside from the social part, exposing them to an opportunity that some of them may not have never had before, outdoors. And camp is near and dear to me, near and dear to my heart. As you can see, that was where I had my first job and my first experiences as a kid. And really, that was a highlight of my childhood, going to summer camp. So being able to show them that at least for one day is really cool. All right. So when we have our in-school programming, these are some of the things that we focus on: social emotional learning, using evidence-based curriculums. We do career exploration. So we talk about, what are you good at? What do you like to do? What are you a part of? And then how does that translate to the resume, right? I think a lot of times I've noticed young, like eighth graders, ninth graders, it's not broken down to the activities that I do. How does this translate to a potential career field, or what I might like to try? You obviously you don't have to make a choice now at the age of 13, but having that healthy conversation with them of, okay, you like this, you're good at that. Well, let's look at some careers that talk about these things. Are you introverted, extroverted? Are you more of, you rather work alone? Or you rather work with other people, outdoor, indoor? It's a whole list of things that we talk about, but it gets them to think about these things. So when they get older, then they have, they can remember, I remember talking about this in group, you know, this space might be better for me, or maybe let me explore this option because of my interests. Um, we do small pullouts. So we normally work with 6 to 10 girls in a group. And also we have community-based conversations. If the school is needed, maybe there was a fight or maybe something happened in the building, and we use that space to kind of receive feedback from our girls and hear how they feel. All right, so we're going to be wrapping up in a second. So here are some statistics. We service 6 schools. This is from last year, 2024. We service six schools in the Philadelphia, Montgomery, and Delaware counties. We've reached over 350 girls. This is from 2017 to current, or to 2014. And we've partnered with over 15 organizations. And um, based on our assessments, the impact that our students received was, improved self-awareness and self-confidence. There was an increased comfortability to speak in public and to others, and increased extracurricular participation, whether in school, place of worship, different places like that. Now, this is our call to action, my call to action to you all. So I mentioned our day retreat that is happening June 28th. So we invited 5 girls last year. Our goal this year is 20 girls. We rented a van last year. We're going to rent a bus this year. So we want to invite 20 girls for our outdoor day retreat, and we do not want any girl to pay a dime to attend. So we want to cover all expenses. That includes meals, activities, transportation, um, and snacks, small things like that for their full experience. And the impact that we intend to have is engagement. We want them to socialize, interact with one another, and growing beyond their comfort, right? Stepping outside of their comfort zone, trying new things, encourage one another, doing the different activities, and then lastly, exposure, right? This might be an uncomfortable environment for some, but by the end of the day, they'll have a great time and, wanting to tell their parents how it went and want to return next year. Um, and then we really want them to just have that opportunity to try something new. And also, we know when the more you're involved in different activities, that's a different what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a different way of learning, right? It may not be classroom learning, it may not be discussion based learning, but that just interaction with other people and doing something out of the norm is important. So our goal was $6,000. We're on our way to reach that by Monday. And here's how you can assist. You can purchase a partnership shirt. So I'm sorry, I'm like tongue tied. A partnership shirt. So we partnered with an organization called Affirm Me, and they put on. I'm actually wearing the shirt. They make affirmations on shirts. So they decided to initiate a partnership with MTD. We came up with a affirmation. So it's I am distinct, I am worth it, I am me. And these shirts will go to all the girls. So we collaborated, we partnered together to sell these shirts, and the proceeds will go towards the day retreat. So you can purchase a shirt, multiple shirts. If even if you don't want the shirt to wear, you can always gift it to someone maybe in your family or someone you know. Secondly, you can send a direct donation, and I'll put the links in the chat in a second. Third, you can share. We challenge you to share it to three people. Share this information, share our organization to three people that you can think of that would be interested, that understands this type of mission. I will also share the link to our partnership to learn about that. The owner of that organization, we actually have known each other for years, and our relationship built, it thrived when we were at camp. She was my camp counselor. So you see the full circle, kind of happening, with she being my mentor at that time, she being my first supervisor at work as a lifeguard, and then now her daughter is in our program, and now she wants to be a part of this mission and to see our organization fulfill it through this day retreat. So these are three ways that you can support, and that's our contact information at the end. I will also put up links in the chat. And do we have time for a minute video?
Yep.
Okay. I want to show you all a video from last year's day retreat.
I can definitely say when I first seen the girl, they were so closed in, didn't speak to each other. But as soon as we start, doing activities with them from beginning to end, you can definitely see the girls really open up and expose more of themselves and learn more about themselves and also about each other. So it was amazing to see.
I think today was a huge impact. We got to interact with the girls one-on-one. We got to have some really good conversations with them and really get to know them on a personal level.
I feel like when I first arrived, it was fun. I was excited at the same time.
What I felt now was very scared, and I didn't know how I was going to act with all these other girls. I was shy. To now, I feel very open, and I feel like I know all these girls just by knowing them from one day.
I feel like it encouraged me to try a lot of new things I would have never tried before, like absolutely never. It was fun, and I enjoyed trying the new things that I haven't tried before.
The initial thought behind Breathe, Bloom, Be Day Retreat was to get girls out of the city in nature, refreshing space and new environment to many girls to be able to spend the day doing different activities that challenge their thought process, their perspectives, their level of trust and relationship building, and even social skills. They're blooming, they're transitioning into young ladies. And then the B is being present. So in the future, it's just expanding. We had 5 girls attend today. The goal is to increase those numbers with your support and continue to expose our girls to these environments that build life skills and that build their future professional life, their relationships, and their self-esteem and confidence. So we will see you next year. We will be doing this again, and hopefully the number is doubled. So thank you.
Breathe, bloom, be.
Awesome.
Thank you. If there's any questions for me, the floor is open.
Any questions for Alex? And I'll throw one thing out there, more of a statement um, of how important this kind of work is. I'm very, very close to a lot of organizations that have some similar goals. One of which I told I was going to introduce you to. You mentioned that's Kirk Berry and what he's been doing. Because I've known Kirk since right a little bit after he started, and seen the growth and how large it's grown and the impact he's making, and it's so important for the youth, especially these days, because like it's crazy out here. Like everyone on this call, I mean, not to say that I'm like the young, I don't think I'm the youngest person here, but anyone who's 30 and up, 35 and up, like we didn't grow up with cell phones and having all these different distractions and information that's overload in our face 24/7. Like it's a different child that's coming up now, and they need different types of exposure. They need to kind of see a different way. So I think what you're doing is super, super important. And I love what you're doing. So yeah, keep going. This is great. I look forward to supporting too. I'm definitely gonna get a shirt because the shirt's fire. Sometimes they be giving you these organization shirts and they're ugly. I like that shirt.
Thank you.
So I'm on for that for sure. But yeah, if anyone has any questions for Alex, feel free to fire away.
I mean, I'll just jump in real quick. And first off, excellent presentation. Very well done. I don't know if you put that together for us or if you had that, but that was very, very well done.
Thank you.
The video was great as well. And that's awesome that you're looking to grow that. That and how many girls you bring to that. One thing I wanted to mention, that I thought was really cool that stuck out to me was the forget what you called it, but the career exploration. I forget what you called it, but
Mhm.
because I was just having this conversation with my niece who's 19, and she like changed her plans last minute last year when she was going to school and changed where she was going to go. And now she changed again, so, and I think all of us on the call, even, well late into life sometimes are still figuring out what we want to do when we grow up. And so being able to get that experience, like my wife and I were talking about it, like, there's a lot of jobs that as a kid you don't even know it exists. Like pretty
Right.
much everything that any of us do, like as a kid, you don't even know what that is, so it's like being able to provide that and even have that kind of conversation with people. That's huge. I mean, among all the other amazing stuff you're doing, but that one stuck out to me just since it's relevant in my family right now. So but keep up the great work. This is excellent job, Alex.
I actually had a question, kind of along those lines when you're with your girls, around the career paths. One thing when I was growing up that didn't exist on my radar was being an entrepreneur, that you could do that. I think there's a really strong niche, especially in our communities, building things that support our communities that don't exist. And that you were able to go to the opening of one of your alums. I was wondering with the career exploration, if like what's resonating with the
Mhm.
girls now, are there existing career paths that you're kind of blowing their minds that they even exist? and or are more kind of wanting to become entrepreneurs, or is it kind of a mix? Just you're in the field with them
Mm.
so much more. I just was wondering what you're seeing resonating with the girls of today.
That's a really great question. It's definitely a mix. I always, when we teach, we always start off with like the interests and passions and skills. Then it's a conversation, okay, what does education look like? Because if someone mentions cosmetology school, then that's where we will look. But I'm not going to say, let's look at Temple. You got to make it make sense. But before I even do that, I have a PowerPoint where we go over the pros and cons of every option you have after you graduate high school: college, military, entrepreneurship, AmeriCorps, um, trade school, right? So those are like the five main things. And I put travel down, right? I don't have any kids, but I think if I had a child and they came to me with a plan and they said they wanted to take off, they saved money up from their job and they wanted to travel the world for 6 months, and we had a plan together, I would be okay with that. But that's not the traditional route people think is success. But there's a lot of learning that happens through travel. So to answer your question, it's really discussing what are your options, and let's talk about each option. Where many schools are only talking about college. So some of them understand that frustration because they're like, well, I'm interested in this, but my school doesn't talk about this. So that's where I kind of come in, and I don't downplay college at all, but we talk about the practicalities that come with each thing. Okay, entrepreneurship, you may not be making a lot of money when you start off, right? So there everything has its balance. I just have a real conversation with them, and I try to talk as much about my experiences growing up. And I go into detail with those pictures that I had of my journey. I didn't know everything was going to pan out this way, but the caveat is I was open to trying everything. And that's how I was able to learn more about myself and be confident in what career path I wanted to choose. But the problem sometimes is, while I'm shy, I'm not leaving the house. I just go to school, I'm not involved. And now it's frustrating trying to figure out what you want to do, but you're not doing anything to get there. So that's kind of like what's happening that I observe.
I think that makes so much sense. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
Awesome. Any other questions?
It's not necessarily a question, but I'm just glad to see that there are organizations out there that are guiding teens before they finish high school. A lot of what you're doing right now is a big help and a big step in putting teens on the right direction. Um, when I was going to school, we didn't have a lot of that. Um, and I know that, camp can be a place where you can build relationships, learn new things, and just en- just enjoy yourself,
Hmm.
and that experience that you bring and that you're giving them is amazing. And, it makes me want to be a kid again and experience it because I know for myself, I my first time going to camp was really an awesome experience, and so I just want to say, thank you for all that you're doing for our youth and our young girls out here.
Thank you for those words. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you again so much, Alex, for the presentation. We do appreciate it. And we are going to any links you give us, we'll be able to send out in a follow-up email with folks. So just make sure me and Chris have that, and
Okay.
we will get that information out to the crew and even out to our universe because there's a lot of folks who weren't able to make it today. So we'll make sure they see all the details.